to this part so far. So I've gotten the shadows on the right hand side. I've added a little bit of highlights. So this I will refine this a little bit more, or a lot more. Probably make the shadows a little bit darker, make the highlights a little bit sharper. Probably add some shadows with probably add some details to the rock using alternative alternative brushes. But for now we'll just keep it as that. We want to start adding some detail onto the lighthouse itself, or whatever object that you'll be working on. So we want to go back onto our reference images, make sure that we are still sticking true to it or getting some inspiration here and there from it. So I'm gonna start adding these lines that will separate the levels of the tower. Probably add a little bit of add some windows onto my tower itself. So I'm going to use the same tools over and over as I add a little bit of details onto it. So I'll show you a few of them before we get on, or before I allow you guys to get on, so at least you guys will be equipped. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up this a little bit. So I have my rocks, I have that small hut, and I have my base, so that's a good starting point. So I'm just quickly zoom in. We can create a new layer. We'll probably name that detail. Details. Obviously this is not too much in details, but we just so we can identify this layer, we'll name it details for now. So the first thing is we'll go back onto our pen tool and I'll create the separations between the two layers. So what I'll just do is click and click so I can create that arc again. So it doesn't have to be too much, but I'm just trying to make sure it is straight. Alright, so we'll start off with that one. Click on Command or Shift so I can control the bend and the curvature, and I just want it to be a little curved there, and I'll move it all the way and I'll make sure that it is parallel, and I'll connect that down there. Just want to zoom out just to see if it's what I would want. 1, 2, yeah, and I'll cut that in half. But I'll first fill it, so I'll go right click, make into selection, click on no, create a new layer because I just want to edit it out before, and I'll just make it a little bit or a lot darker. So I want my brush, color pick that, and I'll make it a lot darker. Then I'll click on G and I'll fill that. Control D to deselect, and I'll delete that selection. Alright, so that's looking alright. I might add another section just to add more detail to it, but now I'll leave that as it is. Then what I want to do, I want to duplicate this, so I want to go onto the layer, drag it down onto the new layer icon that duplicates it, and I want to click on Control T to transform. To select it. Okay, so there's a selection. That pop-up is just meaning that there's a selection somewhere, and then you just quickly deselect that. Let's see if that one works. Control D, that's perfect. And so I just need to just deselect the selected one. Control D, now I can just move that up. So I'll probably make that there, right around there, and I'll move this detailed object down just a little bit, somewhere there. Yeah, around there. Okay, so we'll just, obviously this is, you guys will have more time just to fine tweak your objects. I'll just quickly fix that one up. So Control T, and what I want to do is just move that along. So I'll hold on Shift so I can just drag this out, or Shift so I can drag it just a little bit out there. Hold Shift, the cursor will change into those arrows, and I'll move that out. Enter to confirm that, and I'll zoom on. So it doesn't have as much of a bend, so we want to create something similar to that. So we want to Control T for your transform. We want to right click, and we want to use this warp tool just so we can just warp it a little bit. So we just want to move that just a bit up, so it almost as if we're recreating that bend. But when you do this, it does pixelate your work just a little bit. But since a lot of these details are not going to be visible, it doesn't matter at this stage. Alright, so if I zoom out, I can barely see anything. But yeah, that's a good start. Then the one thing, we can even merge these two together because I'm done with that. Go back onto my details. So I'm going to try recreate the windows. Obviously, I'm not going to take the same style. I'll make it my own. Yeah. Alright, so let me just hide that. I'll start off with my marquee tool, which is just a simple rectangle. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here so it's easier for me to go into the details, and I'll transform it, make it a little bit smaller, and place it where I want to place it. So the first thing I know, it's going to be dark, so it's inside, so I'll fill that up with very black. Control D to deselect. Then I want to copy that same layer, and now I want to match that into the actual tower texture, but I'll make it a little bit darker because it's going to be the inner side walls. So I'll click on G, I'll fill that one up, then Control T, I'll just make that a little bit bigger. And I want to move these layers around so that the black can be on top of the lighter shade. So we can actually create that illusion of 3D. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to shift, move this handle, move that handle, because we'll be looking into it, and I'll confirm that. And the last thing I'll do is just make this top, let me say my magic one tool. So this quick select just allows me to select individual layers much more quickly. So once I've selected that, all I want to do is just cut this selection in half so we don't have to worry about not having a straight line there. So we have our lasso tool. We want to click on Alt. It'll give us a minus, so that means that we'll subtract. So anything that we draw in, we're going to take it out. If I click on Shift, we can add on to it. But since we're going to subtract, we just want to click on Alt. We know that that's all going to get subtracted. Since that layer is behind this black layer, we don't have to worry about having the full border selected because you're not going to see it. So let me just color that one in a little bit darker. That's just at the top because light doesn't go up, so the top bit is always going to be a little bit darker. Alright, so this is a good start, good base. I might create a quick what do you call this again? Oh, a window frame or window sill. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Window sill. So I'll quickly create a window sill. So I'm going to add. Okay, let me merge the two details there. I'm trying to keep my workflow a little bit neater. Just create a new layer. I'll merge it down in any case. So I'll just Control B. select the tower again, make it just a little bit darker than the actual tower, then I'll shade that in. Control D to deselect, and I want to create like a 3D feel, so I'm going to click on Control T. I'm going to zoom in. So now I want to hold on Control so I can actually just move the one handle. So as we learn about perspective, the further away an object is, the smaller it appears. The closer it is, the bigger it appears. So we want to create that, and this handle will probably move in just a bit like that. So we're just moving things around to fit our ideas or our vision. So you guys will carry on doing the same thing, and you guys will be adding a little bit more details throughout your whole work. But the same principle that has been applied here, so is the same principles that I will use going forward. So yeah, let me quickly create that base. I'll make the side much darker. Here, click on L, shortcut key to your lasso tool. Hold on Alt. I'll cut that out because I know that it's going to be dark there. Then I'll allow it to tape off, and I'll recreate just the same color, but I'll make it a bit lighter. So I'll select that. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out. Control D, deselect. So now we're having something which is a little bit better. Right now it does look quite generic, but you guys will have more options to make it more unique to you. But this is just so you guys can understand some of the tools and the principles to creating some concept art and using this method. Alright, so once I've done this, I want to merge the two together, which is the window and the windowsill. Control T, and I'll find a location that I like, and I'll scale it down. So even that already looks more presentable, but I'm going to carry on doing this process all the way through with all the details. That's all I'll be doing. Alright, so I'll let you guys carry on, and I'll carry on adding more details.